Priority champions in this game as we take to Champions League for game number 1. As you mentioned, Jin has been banned up by Saint. They took away LeBlanc as well from Icon as Vladimir and Rise, two very staple red side bans going to be coming out from OMG.
I'm fairly confident in saying that SMLZ is probably top 2 Jins in the LPL. He's ridiculous at that champion. On the other side, S2IZ's signature pick is that Caitlyn. It has been banned against him. See if it's going to be the last ban for OMG, but being on red side, they don't get that same luxury.
Just as you said, this is most played champion as well, Jin. As we're in Caitlyn, Saints most played champions as well. As Trundle is going to be the third ban coming out from Saint here.
Had a lot of Trundle priority throughout the day already. Memory is known as a role-playing top laner. He's going to play whatever is in meta, so Trundle would definitely fit in that wheelhouse.
He's a new addition for the OMG roster. He struggled very heavily in the first match he played against Newbie. V was able to smash him out of the lane to start the match off very early on and snowball advantage from it. Game number 2, he played a lot better when he was on that Lissandra pickup.
Of course, we have our newest caster in the building, Raz, sitting upstairs, and I know that he has a lot more experience with the LSPL teams than I do. He thinks that Memory just may be a case where given time, he could be a good player. Obviously, coming straight into the LPL, especially mid-season on a team that's changing up a lot of your core roster is going to be hard, but Raz certainly sees that something special could be there.
So give him some time to peel back his memory. Hopefully we can see OMG's top lane perform a little bit better as we progress through the summer split of the LPL. As Karma was the final ban that came out from OMG, which is Mike Dong's most played support champion at the moment. Rek'Sai is going to be the instant lock-in coming in for Saint as their jungler of choice, and Hecarim is locked in response coming out from OMG.
Finally, Rek'Sai returns. I was a little bit concerned after we didn't see him at all in the first series. Both those junglers choosing to go far more carry-oriented, but I feel like it's been a while.
Thresh is going to get locked in here for 5 as well. His signature champion and his most played champion as well.
And we talked about this, you know, Thresh bans have been thrown at 5. He doesn't really seem to perform on anything else. So the fact that they'll give him that type of priority pick. Also
makes sense, taking away from Mike Dong, which is the next most played champion after the Karma.
Exactly, it also hides their hand. So OMG haven't shown anything with their composition. We've got a lot of safety and power in the bot lane, which is why we see Maidong now looking towards this Bard. It's ranged support versus range support. Bard's one of the few champions that will be able to keep up with the kill pressure that Thresh can exert on a lane.
Let's see if he does lock that one in. It's S2IZ looking like he wants to play Lucian this game. That's being hovered up. It gets locked in for Saint as well, so they lock in their bottom lane duo as the next 2 picks.
I'm glad to see S2IZ move away from Caitlyn. My only issue with the champion right now is that her build path is pretty inefficient and comparatively to someone like Lucian, Jin, Ashe, or Sivir. The reason why is she itemizes. It's kind of the reason why Stixie goes for that Hurricane build before completing the Infinity Edge, is that before you get your big power spike, your back timers are pretty far and in between. If you don't back on the 1300 gold, you're pretty much screwed. Whereas if any of the other 80 carry champions back before that 1300 gold mark, they just pick up 20 long swords and rock back to lane.
Pick up a serrated Dirk as well. Pretty good, like all those 13.
No, just the 20 long swords.
They can't hold that many, Frostcone. It's unfortunate.
Have you seen Urgot?
You've got 6.
He's got no problem holding that.
You've got 6 item slots, and most people only have 2 hands. Locked in immediately here for OMG. Icon will be taking that one to the mid lane here today.
So looking for the, I'm going to call it a soft counter, or at least has some answers. We've seen this matchup particularly in the top lane between Fizz and Swain. Obviously there is outplay potential there with the playful Trickster. We'll see how Icon does on a shorter lane.
He's going to be taking Ignite and Flash. We see the Fizz do really well with Ignite Teleport up top against Swain. Some extra mobility Summoner Cells should be able to help him out. So another curveball going to be coming out from OMG here as they throw the Fizz into the mid lane, something we don't see too frequently. But things are pretty standard coming out from Saint. So
the thing that OMG have been getting better at is they understand where they need to be on the map. Their issue has been in execution, but they're actually quite clever when they get a lead and how to play around with that lead, particularly on the back of Hecarim. This is a jungler that Shui is very comfortable and competent on.
Let's see if JoJo can use that Hecarim to great success here as he's up against March in the jungle, playing the Rek'Sai, something that we've seen, you know, fall through draft phase a couple of times here today. But let's see how that goes. We head into Summoner's Rift for game number 1 between Saint and OMG. We're on to Summoner's Rift for the second series of tonight. It's going to be Saint taking on OMG, the bottom of the table clash between Group A and Group B. In another week of cross-conference matches in the LPL.
Coming close to a close on our cross-conference.
Last few weeks to pick up those 3 points.
Free. So we are going to take a look at the Keystone Masteries on your... I know, Fish. Keystone Masteries on the bottom of your screen. This composition from OMG, we've seen it a couple times globally. It's very clear-cut, it's very linear, and this is how it works. You get to level 6 on Shin and Hecarim, and you run bottom, and you Shin ult the Hecarim.
Kill people?
And you dive it.
Okay.
Issue is that SMLZ and 5 on Thresh and Ezreal actually don't have the greatest wave pushing potential. Yes, you have the range support versus the melee support, but S2IZ and Maidong should be able to keep them shoved in. So we'll see how these flanking teleports work out, and we'll see if March can get vision control over the bottom side to keep his bot lane safe from that.
We'll have to keep track of that. OMG is a team that normally draft towards their lanes, so their team composition, doing a little bit of both this game.
They also, both these teams, not play through the bottom lane, but definitely their peak performance members are their AD carry, so they like to involve S2IZ and SMLZ. Big
rivalry between S2IZ and SMLZ. It's going to be a tongue twister in team fights. I can already foresee that.
Who is the superior abbreviation?
Which one is the...
I always wanted to call him Smiles.
Then what is STYZ?
It is an... I used to know.
Style?
Anyway, so the thing about Saint's composition is that all 3 of these champions, we talked about how Lucian and Braum should be able to get the push forward, and with Rumble's adjustments to his Flame Spitter, will also get a push forward, as well as Swain. So all of these lanes should actually be going forward, leaving a lot of space for March to 1v1 Shui if he chooses so.
Let's see if he does. He is on that Rek'Sai. He's talked about it time and time again. Something we've seen less popular in the last few days of the LPL. Going through picks and bans here and there. Was a staple red side ban recently. As we take a look at the mid lane, Snoopy already doing pretty well against Icon here. Got him down below half health and has taken no damage in return.
Obviously free to push so early right now, knowing that Hecarim's going to be busy in his jungle. Hecarim does have the potential that he can look for early ganks, especially with the benefit of Ghost and its changes to do an extra damage on his charge. But typically Hecarims like to kind of sit, wait for that level 6, which means that Snoopy will continue to abuse Icon by using his 2 damage over time abilities under tower.
Stretcher is now looking to see if he can get a gank on towards the mid lane. Has popped his ghost. He's going on top of Snoopy here. Will knock him backwards. Never move. Does not connect onto either member. Ignite is down. Snoopy falls. First blood goes to Jetre.
And there's that damaging ghost ability that we were talking about. Big issue is the fact that the never move didn't connect on anything. As soon as that was down, Swin was pretty much down for the count.
Teleport is available for Snoopy, so he's going to be teleporting back in towards the lane here, but...
Oh, he doesn't even miss the creep, so that is good news for Snoopy.
OMG has done a really good job of taking him down, burning both his summoner spells and getting first blood on over towards the Hecarim.
But that does mean that the power was taken out of lane. So Snoopy's still fine as long as it's an isolated 1v1. Obviously, missing your flash is never going to be good. But the closer he gets to that level 6, because it is a short lane and he's level 4, if he gets ganked again, he's just going to go into bird form and probably casually walk back towards his tower. So yes, it's a bad scenario, but it's not worst case unless Shui can really swing this potential again by ganking him over before that level 6.
Let's keep track and see what happens later on to this game. For now, though, early advantage going over towards RMG. You can already see on the top side of the map, like you mentioned, Akon is pushing in towards Scenery. Memory.
They did have a top laner named Scenery, though. Or was he a jungler?
He did a lot of things.
I think it was Shui's name change, actually. Oh, OMG, a new 20-man roster. They found the Space Jam secret stuff formula. It's starting to work. And it's really been on the back of Shui. I like the fact that they continue to go back to their Hecarim compositions. They've shown that against the likes of EDG, they looked really strong, despite losing that series 0-2. If you guys haven't seen it, it's very close.
Jetre now getting it jumped on by Snoopy, though. The never move will actually connect with the Hecarim, but he just charges and he runs away.
That horse is amazing. Doesn't care.
It's a beautiful pony.
Got what he came for. As we now quietly go back to farming.
Yeah, so it has been standard lane, so there are opportunities for things to be shaken up during the other game. So this is one. Akon putting a lot of damage down towards Memory up on the top side of the map.
And it's just brutal for Shin here. So typically how Shin wins is he's able to amass giant creep waves and then taunt you into the creep waves. If you think about his matchup against the likes of Jax or Aurelia, against the likes of Rumble, he does not ever get control of that creep wave. And especially because he's not, or having to itemize into magic damage.
There's an ultimate actually going down on towards the Swain in the mid lane. Jetre was looking for the flank. He's actually going to get jumped on here.
Oh, nice.
There's a great equalizer that comes down. Jetre still alive, but March going to pick up the kill with the Prey Seeker there. So good counter game coming out from Saint.
An excellent response from Acorn. That has been the one bright spot for Saint. I think we've seen Acorn play one series poorly for this team, but otherwise he's really been on form. Kind of some unorthodox picks, you know, going to the Swain top a lot of the Kennen. But when he falls back on the Rumble, certainly looks strong.
Certainly does, and he's looking good again here. He's already been doing well against Scenery up on the top side of the map.
But it's Memory on the top side of the map, and the big thing is his itemization again, is what we were touching upon. So because he's against Rumble, he has to itemize into the MR, which means that he's not picking up the Bomby Cinder for the Sunfire, which means he's giving away even more lane control against the likes of Rumble.
This March is still invading deep in towards Jetre, Son of the Jungle. He's going to start on his red buff.
Should be noted that there is a TP advantage right now for Memory. Does have the stand united despite both of the summoners being down. So we saw Acorn make a play with his ultimate. Now it's in OMG's court as Shui is getting closer and closer to Onslaught of Shadows.
Marsh going to be donating the blue buff on over towards Snoopy. Goodness. I was about to call him Otto.
There's too many players.
These two teams have changed players so many times. So Snoopy is the one that picks up the blue buff. He's going to be able to shove out this wave quite nicely.
Unfortunately, that first blood has put Snoopy not in the greatest spot. He should be having a bit more of a CS lead, especially against the likes of Fizz.
Icon's been doing a good job of farming up and keeping up so far with the Swain.
Here we go. Shui now has level 6, and I actually think he's taking that blue buff for himself. Nope, there goes Icon. This is a good pony. He's holding it for him.
What a nice guy. I would not have done that.
It's because Shui is going to go back anyway. Obviously, no need for the regen. Didn't have a lot of mana when he started that one. But here we go. We now have the opportunity where we can look to make a play, and where is it going to be?
Bottom.
Well, right now it's going to be over the Raptor camp.
Yep, as you see March use his ultimate, trying to get towards the enemy side of the jungle.
He can get behind Icon right here.
It's possible. Actually, Memory taking a lot of damage up at the top side of the map. Decides he wants to fight Acorn despite the overheat.
But Acorn has to go aggressive on Memory right now because his team is communicating that they wanted to make a play on the mid lane Fizz, and obviously you don't want to face across from the Shin as well, which is why Acorn chose to push up then. Instead, they're going to go ahead and gank the Stan United.
Let's see what they can get done here as March is going in aggressively. The Equalizer actually getting a fantastic job done there towards Scenery. Pops down the dodge field, trying to soak up as much damage as possible. He's not going to go down here. Going to be able to live to tell the tale as Acorn now has to tank up so much damage from the turret. Will deny a lot of CS away from this Shen, but still lives to tell the tale.
Yeah, unfortunately Acorn overheated right there. Got off some nice empowered auto attacks, but didn't have his Flame Spitter to really seal the deal.
Which means Stan United is still up and available for Scenery. He doesn't fall too behind at that lane either off of that one gank. Lots of vision being put down and available for OMG on top of that too. Dredger doing a good job in response by counter jungling the red side of Saint's jungle. And
more importantly, laying down that deep vision in tandem with 5. They're now looking for the dive on
Here's
Snoopy.
A double gank coming on towards Snoopy. The flash forward comes out for 5. It's very rarely you see him miss hooks, but when he doesn't need it.
I love just like the angry drop lantern. I just want the assist. He doesn't get it. Good attempt, burns his flash. We'll see if it can be punished bot lane by S2IZ and Maidong, but not the best place to be.
Yeah, but still a great play coming up from ONG. They've targeted this mid lane twice. We see lots of Hackerons have been doing this recently. I think SOFM was a big factor to the Snake lineup, was for targeting the mid lane a lot with Hackeron from very early on.
It's kind of like a pseudo Gragas cask in the idea that you're scooping them off of their tower and into danger. Is he going to take this, or is he going to hold the... Oh, that is a nice jungler. No, he's taking it.
Yeah, that's more like something I would do. I am not a nice jungler.
March is like,
does not like playing with me.
I've got a wave and a half here. It happens to be a cannon wave, and it's all mine.
March does take the Raptors away from Dredger as well. He's having a field day. Oh, did he get it? Did he see it?
He didn't.
He must have seen it, though. He went back.
He could be looking at someone else's screen. This is now the epic gank top lane. No, I think he's just deep warding.
Memory does not want these Crocs to be taken away. Smited out by March, so good counter jungling coming out from the Rek'Sai.
See, there you go. He told Snoopy that the pink was in the brush.
He missed the ward, though.
No, his mid laner replaced it.
No, Memory just missed the ward up at the top side of the map. Didn't get the brush where March was actually waiting for him last game.
Mate, the victory is the pink ward.
But not for Saint, not for OMG. They lose the pink ward and they lose the ward top. Not great.
They're losing the cold ward battle.
But things are pretty quiet now between OMG and Saint.
They're not going to be for long, though. Both teleports are up. Stan United is up.
Well, this is where we expect action to take place. Down at the bottom lane, OMG and Saint have just been farming. Like, no CS deficit.
Because the issue is again, Hecarim, yes, he can gank this lane, but it's still fairly safe. I like the fact that Hecarim's actually prioritizing mid lane and trying to snowball the Fizz ahead. Is now Maidong going all in.
And there's also March jumping into the back lines there. SMLZ able to jump away, but there's standing on top of 5. Lands the hook onto STYZ. Over commitment coming out for the Lucian. OMG find the first kill. Scenery's going to be, not Scenery, sorry, Snoopy's going to be jumping into the back lines here. We'll be able to pick up a return kill onto 5, but so is Memory. He's in this fight as well. Here comes the Rungle Equalizer. Everybody's down into this bottom lane. Here's the action that we thought would take place. Finally happening in the bottom lane. The fish will not connect. A flash forward for Snoopy finds another kill. Never move. Forces the flash coming out from SMLZ as well. All in all, it's a 2-for-1 trade.
And Snoopy proving his worth over Otto in that mid lane has the immediate teleport reflex to put his team ahead in that exchange. And it's Acorn actually walked down to that bottom fight, burning his teleport now so he doesn't miss any farm on the top side. So huge swing of power for Saint.
Certainly was, and very interesting that it was Saint that pulled the trigger there, and they got the hook onto STYZ. It was overcommitment coming from the Lucian, but they still lose the fight all in all from that.
Icon actually outmaneuvered March for a ward. There you go, Fish.
Well done. It's 5 now flays him out of the tunnel, insult to injury.
But yeah, it looked like disaster initially for Saint. You have to think about how risky it is to gank the bottom lane when a Shin is in play.
It's now Snoopy taking a lot of damage here from Icon. Is putting some work down towards the Swain, but a jump forward coming up from Brom slows his advance.
5 just reminds me so much of Cloud. Constantly roaming around on the thresh, trying to make the plays. Hasn't worked out for him quite yet. Does have a kill to his name, but he's got his Mobies.
Mobies have been buffed slightly in the recent patch. Slightly.
They've redefined in combat status to include or exclude wards. Which means now you don't need to place 4 wards for safety as you clear a single pink ward, because you lost all your movement speed on your Mobies. I think the biggest thing, though, is the catch-up experience adjustments. So really empowering the ability to roam around. And it's nice for the LPL in specific, because we do have very roam-heavy, bloodthirsty supports.
We certainly do. 5 is one of those. You saw him flash over a Raptor camp there just to try and get an assist. The Saints are setting up in this bottom lane again. March has put a very deep ward behind the laners. No teleports are available yet. They're still pushing.
It would catch Hecarim coming deep into the lane as well, though. And you are correct, they're not even close to these TP timers, but pulling Acorn off of the top side, having him walk down, they're trying to just brute force this tower.
They still have Shen Swift pushing on the top side of the map. Memory's going to be able to get some good damage down towards that top lane outer turret with no teleport available for Acorn. He has to go all in to try and take down this turret. STYZ going to be pushing up. SMLZ trying to do what he can to stop this push.
They either have to go all in on the tower or they have to go all in on the dragon, because like you said, Memory still has the Stand United, which means that they have the TP advantage. They're going to get so much more off of this unless OMG choose to fight this.
They don't. Saint instead take the Ocean Dragon. Oh, they eventually take the Ocean Dragon as Mike Dong picks it up.
Double Ocean.
It's going to be an Ocean that spawns, that's right. Stretcher doesn't get his Raptor stolen this time around by March. And Acorn will just walk slowly up towards the top side of the map. Unfortunately, Memory not able to take down that turret during his time of absence.
Did shore up a lot of the CS, however. So in a bit of a better position, but all in all, Saint make a very aggressive and forward move. They don't get the tower out of it, but they do manage to take the dragon. And we're back to farming.
A lot less bloody than anticipated in this bottom lane.
The difference between these two teams right now is just kind of where Acorn is comparatively to Memory. The fact that he very heavily won the lane, didn't necessarily put the Shin down, but taking control over the top side of the map by having that tower, by constantly being pushed forward, has his proto belt now to his name.
He's getting a lot of help from March on the top side of the map. You can see him ganking quite a few times there.
He's incredibly strong right now simply because he has the 2 points in his ultimate. Very level-dependent champion versus a item-dependent champion Rumble.
Yep. Cyclone still farming in this mid lane. You can see the Fizz has this Morello Nomicon to deal with the healing that Swain can dish out.
They're trying to set up another play where they push Snoopy off of the turret, but a much better response now from Saint. But they've got their deep triangle vision. They're pulling 5, and they're now just going to bounce between bottom and mid.
It's 5 now, actually looking for a hook, see what he lands. Lands it on top of the Brom. Going to be able to fly him backwards on top of the box. Meanwhile, everyone else is diving on top of STYZ. They take him down. It's going to be Snoopy that teleports into this lane, but it's a triple kill that will come out for OMG with 5 men strong down at the bottom side of the map.
And able to tank all of that turret aggro and walk out without trading anything. Beautiful play. This is exactly how we said this composition works for OMG. They finally pull the trigger on bottom and then translate it directly into a tower.
They're going to be able to even up the tower advantage that Saint previously held just from the natural pushing that Acorn got alone against Memory up in the top side of the map. And OMG hold on to a goal lead against Saint. Saint are normally really strong early and falter towards the later and middle parts of the game, but it's OMG that are holding strong this early on.
But this is exactly where OMG are also strong. OMG are kind of... they're closer to game talents than they are to any other team. This idea that there's not one thing that they do particularly well. It's the fact that they're effectively a jack of all trades.
Meanwhile, though, Dredger actually in a little bit of trouble there as Acorn finds the Flame Spitter and knocks him away from his own red buff. So March can be able to deny this from the team. Memory actually going in quite deep there, tries to get the taunt, tries to go for the steal as the rest of the team trying to catch up.
But feels very good on the Shin right now since he has his Spirit Visage and he's able to stand across from Acorn. Yes, Acorn will continuously push him in, although it's gotten a little bit better with his Balmy Cinder finally picked up. But there's not a lot of kill pressure there anymore.
Icon uses the Playful Trickster to avoid the Winter's Bite and jump away from the damage being dealt there. It's STYZ, SMLC, so has to be careful. The flash for the Hextech Protobelt's enough. Acorn obliterates the Ezreal.
And SMLZ never really got out of damage threat there. He actually arcane shifted back on top of the red carpet and then flashed to the very tip of it. So just pretty unfortunate. And that's been the one power point for Saint this entire game is their top side of the map. And they're slowly starting to win through it because they keep throwing so many resources.
Meanwhile, mid lane, flash 4 for 5, gets the hook. Snoopy gonna get taken down. Icon finds a kill. Unburrow will come out from Marsh though, looking to try and take down Icon. Playful Trickster will slow down the rumble. The rest of the team collapse on top of him. There's the corrosive charge. Jumping on top of it, will get taken down. Dredger picks up the kill. Stand United gonna keep them alive as there goes Marsh. Gonna be able to take him down. The ultimate does come out, trying to lock them, but STYZ finds the kill. Tom will get him back to safety. Overall, it's a 2-for-1 trade.
And in the end, it was a 4v5, all 5 members eventually arriving for Saint, whereas SMLZ was never in the fight to begin with. But good outplay from Icon in particular.
Saint, though, will still be able to take a blue... No, he won't. I should stop talking about things that have not happened. Dredger smites it away instead.
Had the lower power smite as well. He just got level 12, so he had the level 11 smite.
And look at the damage dealt during that fight. It was all on towards March there. Not even Rumble or STYZ dealing half of its damage.
Well, SMLZ wasn't in the fight, so can't hold Ezreal accountable. But otherwise, both these junglers just putting on their carry pants. They were also in the fight for the longest time, simply because they were acting as the front line for both teams.
As Ezreal still up at the top side of the map, split pushing there, trying to deal with the wave.
Another Trinity Force Hecarim.
Picks up the Stinger first, doesn't go for the Phage.
Doesn't need that health crystal in his Cinderhulk.
But he did complete the Cinderhulk first, doesn't go for the SOFM-esque.
You know, I don't actually mind him looking for the Trinity Force coming out of the jungle as 4, 1, and 3. It's one of the few times, you know, when Hecarim does get so snowballed ahead of the clock that he can afford to look for such an expensive item from his position. That's my #1 complaint for jungle Hecarims looking for the Trinity Force, is the fact that it is such an expensive item and they don't get the same golden take as a lane. Although adjustments have made that slightly better. Well,
now he does have the Phage being picked up as well, so all 3 components of the Trinity Force have been completed by this Hecarim. Other major item pickups, Fizz is looking towards the Abyssal Scepter as his next item. Makes sense against the double mage solar laners coming out from Saint.
Against all of that magic damage. It's pretty much everyone but Lucian.
Rek'Sai's going for a Titanic Hydra to match with the Cinderhulk and Sightstone being picked up. And speaking of Rek'Sai, she's already working on trying to take down this dragon. Will fall. Rek'Sai gets the smite down. The second Ocean Dragon goes towards Saint. They're going to get a third if they can contest for the next dragon too. So a lot of regen being given to Saint. And who this is really going to benefit is going to be the junglers and the supports. Obviously able to keep them on the Rift longer. Also in elongated sieges, it will be of assistance. Unfortunately for Saint's composition, they don't really have something set up for elongated sieges. The kind of blow the equalizer, make a play around it, or die trying. Let's see if they're able to take advantage of it. Meanwhile, Akon on the top side of the map has his Liandry's tournament completed, as well as that Protobelt that he previously had. Lots of LMG members, though, now moving towards the top side of the map. They were spotted out by a sneaky Saint member waiting inside of a brush. March now sees them. They're being shadowed quite effectively by Saint. In fact, they're also kicking Snoopy down into that bottom lane. He has his teleport, so he will be able to respond should a fight break out. But it looks like Acorn's actually just going to give away the tower. Memory is still on the top side of the map, so it makes sense. As Icon now going to take a culling to the face. STYZ dashes forward, gets half of Icon's health down in terms of damage. Dredger just decides to charge in towards March. Snoopy is still split pushing down to the bottom lane for Saint as well. Saint need to be very careful this far forward, which is why I think they're immediately backing up. Because if Hecarim just wants to run them down on an elongated lane,
they're pretty done.
Hecarim should have that Trinity Force completed as well. He's been sitting on 3 items for some time now. Memory takes a little bit of damage from Acorn. Here comes the Equalizer. Lots of damage down towards the Shen. Forces the flash away. Feels like a little bit of a misplay coming out from Memory there.
Definitely not respecting Acorn. Acorn's still kind of showing him who's boss up in this lane 1v1. Still, even without the flash, it's going to be difficult to kill the Shen. He just misplayed that one scenario.
Acorn, like we said, still very strong. Looking towards his Rylai's Crystal Scepter as this next item already has the Lucy Large Rod being picked up. Meanwhile, Trinity Force has been completed, coming out from the Hecarim, and it looks like Shen has picked up a Stinger, so might be a Trinity Force of his own.
Keep our eye on it. Big thing also is the fact that SMLZ, Ezreal's on kind of his 2-item power spike, still waiting for that tier to stack up fully, but also has the Executioner's Calling as well as the Hex Drinker. So SMLZ is actually very important in terms of his target selection. Will he get it? Nope.
He gets a single caster minion though.
I was trusting my spectator. I was like, oh, he's going to go for the... No, he didn't even...
The spectator trusted him, apparently, as well. Immediately pans over to the blue. I was like, oh, it's not going... Oh, it's going top lane. Missed. Great. We were let down. Icon actually waiting to see if he can get an assassination attempt down here.
Again, we talked about the overextension against the likes of Hecarim.
There is Hecarim. The hook lands on towards Snoopy. Immediately, the ultimate comes out from Shan. Standing United's coming in. Snoopy pops the Zhonya's Hourglass to stay alive. STYZ's been zoned out by the Fizz. Icon gets the first kill onto Mike. The rest of OMG now have to retreat as here comes Acorn. Hextech Protobelt's in. Finds a double kill. Off the back of that, Lucian's going to pick up a kill too. SMLZ now has to run. That looks like a great fight for Saint after OMG started.
But the issue was that they didn't immediately burst anyone. Icon actually dove down to try to get STYZ, missed his fish, and then had to just reposition for the fight. So it's only Mindong that goes down. And a lot of ultimates used for pretty much nothing in return.
There certainly were a lot of ultimates used. Now Saint actually looking towards the Baron buff. Only the Fizz and the Ezreal left up and available. Memory does have a teleport to try and get in towards this pit, but this Baron is already down pretty low. Here comes Icon. Look at it, see if he can do anything here. True Shot Barrage does come out, clips a few members. Baron getting taken out low. The Smite does come out. Rek'Sai picks it up. It does get a kill coming on over from the Fizz, but that's all they're gonna get as Saint pick up a very early Baron.
Massive swing of momentum and powers. We're gonna take another look at this team fight. So again, the issue is that so many ultimates are used and no one immediately dies. Icon right there dives towards the back, misses his fish, does manage to pick up the kill on Braum, but everything has been expended and now the cavalry arrives. Rumble immediately into the back line, followed up by Snoopy.
Whew. Acorn was a beast in that fight. What a beautiful equalizer, followed by the immediate dash forward. No surprise to see that he dealt the most damage during that team fight. And Icon really lacking, not able to get that assassination potential, and it's hurting him quite a bit in these team fights.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's, I believe, the second key fish that he's missed this game so far. Icon has this reputation of either he makes the crazy, massive outplay, or he costs his team the game. Will constantly look for the ability to make plays, so will never be a passive laner, but hasn't quite gotten the hang of it or curbed his aggression at necessary times. Double-edged sword.
For now, though, Saint do have a 4,000 gold lead over OMG, and they do have the Baron buff in play, too, looking to try and push down towards this mid lane Dredge. And to get out with March here, takes a lot of damage in return for it, though.
Continue the siege, though. OMG will have to give away this tower.
Never move does land on towards the Ezreal there. The hook was looking for STYZ, doesn't find him. There's the True Shot Barrage being blocked out by Mike Dong's shield.
And meanwhile, bottom, Acorn has already prepped this bottom wave, so very easy rotation.
Lots of damage going to be coming out from this Rumble. Turns around, puts the Flame Spitter down low, as well as that Rylai's Crystal Scepter, helping Acorn out so much down on this Rumble. This turret is going to fall down. Santa going to be able to increase their gold advantage.
There's not much that they can get after this, however. They should fall back and pick up all 3 Ocean Drakes, so obviously, again, the region is massive in between these fights.
And they're going to be able to do just that as they're working on the Ocean Dragon. Now Saint will be able to take that one down. 3 Ocean Dragons for them. There'll be 1 more Elemental Dragon to spawn in this game. It's going to be an Infernal Dragon, so that's a pretty important pickup this late into the match.
Kind of wish that it would have been a triplet Infernal. I'm sure that's what Saint are thinking. But they can take what they've got. Again, they shouldn't be able to translate this Baron into many more objectives this late into it. Made a good run, especially for how early the power came to them. Map's very open though, so again, more power towards that Hecarim. Starting to get his tanky stats up, looking towards that Spirit Visage.
Saint were able to take down 2 inner turrets with their Baron push. The top lane inner turret for OMG still stands though. So still not out of this game just yet. Very far behind in terms of gold. 5,500 gold, which is a major item and a half on the side of Saint. Most of that gold being funneled in towards this Rumble at the moment. Swain has 3 crucial items being picked up, being the Spirit Visage, the Rod of Ages, and the Zhonya's Hourglass.
And those items are incredibly important because it means that Swain can be a massive zoning force. So, yes, if he locks you up with all his skills, he's going to do pretty decent damage. But more importantly, it's that he can flash into that backline and he can separate and change terrains of fights by being in stasis within his ultimate.
Icon has the Abyssal Scepter being picked up, looking for Zhonya's Hourglass as his next item on Fizz. Marsh looking to try and creep out towards this lane, going to try and push this turret towards the tower. The hook lands, I don't know how 5 connected that, but he did. March now in trouble, gonna get knocked back, takes so much damage. Teleports are coming in. Dredger with a big ult on towards My Dog and Snoopy, but the charge is being led by Snake now. They're gonna try and stop this Thresh from advancing any further. Good nether move does come out. So they land a hook towards Snoopy. He has to pop his Zhonya, so we'll be able to do so in the back of the team. But Acorn's back here too, dealing massive damage to the backlines. SMLC does take him down, trying to chase Snoopy, but will get locked down as well. Memory now in trouble, gets jumped on. Everyone is chasing him, and he's the only member left alive for OMG, and Ace will come out for Saint, and they're going to be able to push towards the base.
And Saint just destroyed OMG. We said that with the Baron, they're not going to be able to take much more, but they continuously are turning around these fights because OMG don't have the damage to immediately delete any of the picks that they find.
And this could be game. Snoopy's going back to base. Dove has its teleport available, and it's 9 seconds on the Thresh to come back up. Let's see if they can push for the turret. They're going to take down 1 inhibitor turret. 5 is now back in amongst the base. The teleport is coming out from Snoopy, saying they're looking for the game here. They're going to be able to take game number 1 against OMG in fantastic style as well.
And particularly off the back of Acorn's Rumble, which played phenomenally that game. Destroyed his lane opponent. Yes, you're not thinking destroyed in the sense of making those big 1v1 kills, but constantly creating a pressure point, getting an early global gold lead for his team by taking that tower, and then immediately rotating towards the bottom of the map and using game-changing equalizers.
He played it fantastically as well. Acorn, he's been stepping up for Saint recently, and he's done it again here in their first match against OMG. So congratulations to Saint there. They're looking good to start the series, but we've kind of seen this from Saint before. You know, they take game 1, look very promising. They have yet to convert it into a series win, though.
I also think that Saint had a pretty decent draft in terms of where they're strong and how to play the game. I like the fact that they were able to get the Swain, but instead of putting it in the hands of Acorn, they gave it to Snoopy to help him compensate for kind of some lackluster laning ability, and then gave Acorn the responsibility of just changing the course of team fights. And
he did that fantastically. There were a couple of team fights. This was one of them where he was able to turn it completely around in Saint's favor. That never move was really big from Snoopy. They landed a hook, but you're throwing a Swain into your team, it just pops Zhonya's and stays alive.
And the big issue is the fact that OMG's primary carry in SMLZ is really unable to get anything done on this Ezreal pickup. Yes, he, it's interesting because Ezreal has to go into the 2-item power spike of obviously building the utility through the Iceborne Gauntlet and then having the Muramana stacked up. And then because it's such a cheap and efficient build, he's able to quickly go into Hexdrinker and then into the Executioner's Calling. But he's not able to get out the enough sustain damage or to pick through these massive tank lineups to do anything about it.
Well, let's see if that will change for OMG. We're going to go into a very quick break, but we'll be back with the rest of this best of 3 series between Saint and OMG. Don't go anywhere.